Welcome to the Wednesday night Bible study. Maybe we'll have some new faces, and hopefully a lot of you have come back. We just ended taking a look at the life of Daniel in the Old Testament, his story. We've been going through the stories of several individuals from the Old Testament, kind of applying that to our lives today. So we virtually got together. Gosh, it's been about a year ago, by Facebook and the HCC website. Most recently talking about Daniel. We spent 9 Wednesdays talking about Daniel. Before that, we spent 18 Wednesdays looking at David's life. Before David, we studied the life of Joseph over the period of 12 weeks. And before that, the story of Abraham for 14 weeks. And the first study, the life of Elijah, we studied for 8 weeks, 8 Wednesdays. So you can find all these studies on the HCC website if you click on Bible Studies. Well, during all this time, this last year, I've learned a lot, and I hope you have too. Each of these Old Testament men were powerful examples of walking with God. We spent several weeks with the life of each person, getting insights into living our own lives, and I do mean several weeks. What was that? 18 weeks was it for David? 18 weeks we spent with David. Now for these next weeks, I don't know how many Wednesdays, we're going to do something different. We're going to spend a little time with several Old Testament characters. Not so many weeks for each person, a much shorter time for each person. But these will again be Old Testament characters, which kind of portraits of what's going on. We might spend 1 Wednesday, maybe 2 Wednesdays for each of these individuals. Now back to these last few men we studied, Elijah, Abraham, Joseph, David, and Daniel. They had or developed traits or characteristics or attitudes in their godly living. And we looked at these different traits with the hopes of applying it. But these next several weeks, we're going to zero in on one characteristic, and that is faith. We're going to look at faith. Men and women in the Old Testament who had lived lives of faith. Now, which men and women should we look at? Well, I'm not going to decide. Instead, I'm going to follow the advice of the writer of the book of Hebrews in the New Testament, the book of Hebrews. It may or may not be the Apostle Paul, singled out several people in chapter 11 of that book. In fact, many folks call chapter 11 of Hebrews the Hall of Faith. Let's look at how chapter 11 starts. Verse 1, Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. Now next time I'm going to get more in detail on what faith is. But for now, let's look at verse 2 again. This is what the ancients were commended for. The writer states here that these ancients, and who are these ancients? And the writer tells us in the next many verses of chapter 11. You will see that there are quite a few, and it covers the rest of chapter 11, where he brings up different members of the Old Testament, different characters. So this is the Hall of Faith. Give you a second to look at that. Hopefully that's big enough that you can see it. Some names on there. Some of those folks we've studied here on Wednesday nights. I see David. I see Abraham. Joseph. Looks like, did I mention Abraham? Sarah. Talked about her a little bit. And some others you may know something about. Noah. I think everybody knows about Noah. Knows the story of Noah. But some we know very little about. So in case you can't see it from there, it's Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Joshua, Rahab, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, and Samuel. Yeah. What they have in common is that this writer of Hebrews felt they were excellent examples of men and women of faith. And perhaps to bring it up as an encouragement to the first century Jewish Christians. We'll get into what's going on at the time, in the first century. So bring this up as an encouragement, bringing up these ancients. And I think they can be an encouragement for us in our lives today. So that's kind of what's going on. I'd like to recommend go ahead and read chapter 11. Get yourself ready for Hebrews chapter 11. Next time, I'd like to look at what faith means from the point of view of this Hebrew writer. And then we're going to spend some weeks, I don't know how many, looking at some, not necessarily all, of these people on the screen. So, give yourself a little break here. This was a short one. And we'll see you next time. In the meantime, take care, and may the Lord be with you.